Little Golden Books are a literary institution. They've been read by children everywhere since 1942.
Golden books.
Golden books. I grew up with little golden books.
But lately, they've experienced a bit of a celebrity facelift. With their release of the Little Golden Book biographies, some of the world's most famous people have pushed the poky little puppy off the bookshelf. Today, few are more famous than pop sensation Taylor Swift. I caught up with illustrator Elisa Chavarri to talk about bringing Taylor Swift into the Little Golden Book universe.
I was a fan of Little Golden Books. I grew up on Little Golden Books. So when this job came in, I was super excited. It was Little Golden Book, number one. But number two, being a Latina and my mom also being very much into the arts. Growing up, she had introduced me to Frida Kahlo and one of the few prominent woman artists. So I was so excited that I got to illustrate a book about Frida Kahlo. When I have a new book, I try to think about what it feels like to me, what kind of world I want to create, and what medium would work best for that. I really have this nostalgic feeling about them. And I noticed like a lot of the new ones are done digitally, but I'm like, no, the classic Little Golden Books are painted by hand. And I really am just like, and Frida Kahlo, like I'm painting this by hand. I would have done it with oil paints if I had had time, but that was not in the cards. But I really wanted that feel of the classic Golden Books in it. And also just to honor Frida and her process. Apparently they must have liked the work I did for that, and I was very lucky then that they contacted me later to do the Taylor Swift Little Golden Book. And for Taylor Swift, I was really lucky because I was already a Taylor fan and I got that book and I'm just like, yes. And she just seems like somebody as a pop star who she pays a lot of attention to detail, the way she crafts her songs and things. She kind of, I think, has a timeless quality to some of her work, but just like that little attention to detail. And I'm like, I'm going to treat Taylor's like a classic too, even though, you know, she's this modern pop star. I want this to be, I want it to feel like a old classic Little Golden Book. And nobody knew she was going to do the Eras tour. So the timing just worked out phenomenally for that. The author is a genuine Swiftie and she just wanted to do this and she had to convince the publisher to do it because they weren't really doing that young of pop icons or anything. So that book kind of got the ball rolling for a lot more of these younger celebrity books that they're doing. So she just wanted to do that book because she was a Swiftie and it just happened to coincide beautifully with Taylor Swift getting even more popular. I tend to start realistic and then I kind of have to develop it down to something a little more simplified or children's book. If I'm referencing something, which you have to do when you want to get a good likeness, I then have to play with that reference and kind of simplify it and turn it into a caricature of sorts that fits into more of the illustration style I want to try to capture. It's different with every book and every publisher. Every publisher seems to work a little bit differently. So sometimes they will give you the whole layout, so you know the trim size of the book, the dimensions, what words are going to be on each page, and often there are image suggestions, and sometimes they will tell you almost all the images, what they want with different levels of specificity. So Taylor Swift and the Little Golden Books, they do art direct a bit more in those, and they do give you the layouts with this text is going to go on this page. Most people in the publishing world are really easy to work with, and everyone has the same goal of making the best book possible. You make the first round of sketches and you send it back to them, and then we work their ideas in and refine until you get everyone happy.
Elisa's advice for other artists is something she often has to try to remember herself.
For me, I have to hear it sometimes from my friends, like, don't be so hard on yourself. And also just seeing my kids now as they grow older. When you're really little, like, you just love everything you do. You create something, you're like, this is awesome. And then as you start getting older, it seems like you start getting a lot more self-critical. It's something I still keep having to remind myself is just to have fun with it. This is supposed to be fun. Just play. It's work, but it's to find the play in it is gonna hopefully help some sort of magic come out of it.